G'day viewers, welcome to the end of another week. Time once more for Totally Fucked Up Friday, which this week I am going to try to do really hard in one take. Because who remembers last week when I left in that weird bit I should have edited out? What the fuck was that about? Well, what I was doing, I pinned notes to the tripod. So if you ever see me look down a little bit, I'm looking at my tiny little notes. I don't write a script for these, but I write notes. Remember to say this thing. This is who you're talking about. And that's all I do. And I meant to edit out the bit where I spit on my fingers and stuck. I mean, how gross is that, right? This is what I'm doing. People say, what are you doing? Shouldn't you go, look, okay, I'm a grown-ass man in my shed sticking notes to a tripod with spit and shouting at people, okay? You can't fucking embarrass me, alright? This is what I do. And Australians might be looking at this going, Totally Fucked Up Friday, why does it take till Saturday to appear? Look, I could have easily done this 2 hours ago, but I thought this whole thing needed several more vodka shots, and I was also watching a comedy special on TV that really caught my attention. But I'm here now. Look, let's start with a story that I just thought was really wacky. What does it take to get sacked from the US Army, particularly if you've reached the rank of Major General? It would have to be pretty bad, right? Well, yes it would. There's one, Major General Michael Carey got sacked this year, mainly for stuff that happened in July when he was in Moscow. What happened, do you say? Let's just say he was drunk all of the time. See, you can be drunk and do YouTube videos and it's charming and humorous. But if you're drunk and a Major General in the US Army representing US interests in Moscow, that's a bad deal. What did this guy do? Well, apart from causing scenes everywhere he went, he was also having liaisons with two young ladies who were regarded as a bit of a security risk. And he was just doing dorky shit, like at a nightclub, going up to the band and they'll go, no, let me sing with you. That'd be fucking awesome. And the band's saying, fuck off, man. And he's going, no, fucking, I'm in charge of a US nuclear arsenal. Fucking I stop war every day. Let me on stage. I think sacking him may have been the best way to go. Isn't that a little disturbing though? With everything that we worry about with spying and intrusions on our life, Major Generals who have control over nuclear arsenals are just wandering around Russia getting shit-faced. That's just I'm not even sure that's fucked up. It's kind of funny and just very weird to me. And I'm just going to put a footnote because often people send me links all the time, which is good. I often ask for them directly. I try to communicate to people certain things I don't like to dwell on because I don't want to be seen to make light of them. Usually someone dying makes it really dodgy, but also child abuse. Like that, I'm not even going to mention him by name, but that hideous fucking pop star who got jailed for really, really bad child sex offences in the UK. And it's like, seriously, the judgment has been released publicly. You can find it online. Don't read it unless you really want to be upset, because it's really fucking bad. And to me, the worst thing about this piece of shit is he still refuses to accept responsibility for what he did. It's like, I don't know, I was really drunk. I don't know what I was doing. What, dude, you spent all this time fucking procuring kids from your it's just awful. I don't want to talk about it anymore. But I will just touch on one thing. People say, oh, fucking child molesters. I have kids, okay? Child sex abusers are people I want to hurt badly. And people say, why don't we treat them like murderers? As hard as it is, when it comes to matters of law and crime and punishment, you have to divorce your emotion from the situation. Simple fact, if you made the penalty for child sex offences as bad as or worse than for murder, what you're saying to the child sex abusers is, well, I might as well murder the kids that I abuse because the punishment won't be any worse if I get caught for murdering them, and if I murder them, they're not there to testify against me. See, that's a problem that law-abiding people make occasionally when they're thinking about matters of crime and punishment. They attach their own mindset to it. If you're not a criminal, you think differently to criminals, okay? It's as simple as that. One of the biggest eye-openers I saw, there's a famous Australian criminal from the 1930s, a guy called Chow Hayes. He was a notorious member of what was known as the razor gangs because they used to fucking cut up people they didn't like with cutthroat razors. He was scary psychopath guy. And him and his mates used to steal shitloads of stuff, like shoplifting, right? Not even armed robbery, just shoplifting. But in modern terms, I shit you not, these guys were stealing millions of dollars worth of stuff, if not tens of millions of dollars worth of stuff, okay? Because they just thought that was their right, because everyone else was a sap and a sucker, and they were strong, everyone else was weak, they should take it. And when laws were introduced, it's like, okay, if you get 3 convictions for shoplifting over this amount, we will punish you as badly as if you'd done an armed robbery. Because the thinking of the great lawmakers was, we'll punish multiple shoplifting offences like much more serious offences, and therefore they will stop shoplifting. No. What Chow Hayes and his mates did was say, well, if we're going to go away as if we did armed robberies, fuck it. Let's start doing armed robberies. That's how criminals work, okay? They're not the same as law-abiding people, so stop thinking you can rationalise crime and punishment. If you introduce more severe penalties, criminals will just commit more severe crimes because they lose nothing. Okay? And that's all I'm saying on that topic. And now I'm just going to go a couple of weird fucked up things, because I wasn't joking about the vodka shots, and I don't know how much I've got in me for editing, and well, not even editing, this is one take, but rendering and uploading this, which I'm going to try and do before I lose consciousness. But all these little bits and pieces that just show how fucked up our world and our life is. Like when you look at whistleblowers around the world, like, okay, the spying revelations which have been highlighted by Edward Snowden, published by WikiLeaks, it's polarized people. Some people have gone, I want to know that, okay? I want to know that someone has irrefutable evidence that governments, particularly the US government, are just spying on everything and everyone. And you still have people wanting to put severe punishments on Snowden and Julian Assange as the figurehead for WikiLeaks. Now, the whole complicated thing about should Assange be answering for the sex assault charges that have been levelled against him, I don't blame him for not showing up for a trial, because there is no guarantee he's not going to be extradited to the US. I don't know if he's guilty of serious sex offences. Until all those facts come out, I'm not willing to pass judgment one way or the other. But really, it just does reek of get him into a court so he could be extradited to the US. Why is that a bad thing? Well, this week you've got an ex-director of the CIA saying Edward Snowden, if he's found guilty of treason, should be hung by the neck until he's dead. Where does treason come to? It's not war. Despite the bullshit line of the war on terror, it's not a real war. He's not giving up troop movements. He's not giving aid to the enemy. He's exposing the actual truth that the US government is spying on everything and everyone. See, that's the thing. For all the criticism of Snowden, I've never seen anyone criticizing him by saying he said things that aren't true. And it's now getting to the point where even judges in the US and the Congress are going, you know what? This stuff the NSA is doing, it is unconstitutional. It is beyond the pale. it does have to be pulled back. But you've still got people saying, oh yeah, Snowden told people the truth, so kill the motherfucker. I mean, who's going to speak up? Who's going to put themselves on the line when that's the payback you get? And it goes to all sorts of levels. Like in the UK, they've been introducing these hardcore porn filters. And all the moralists go, see, because porn is bad and you shouldn't be watching it. Except the obvious has happened in that it's been proven that the UK porn filters has been black banning sex education sites, information sites. And you get the fucking idiots who defend this censorship by saying, oh, who could have possibly known that would happen? Everyone! That's who! Everyone who opposed these fucking filters told you ahead of time they won't work, they won't stop the porn, they will stop the legal information. It's absolute fucking bullshit. And it's just governments and law enforcement agencies exceeding what's reasonable. It covers all sorts of things. Even in Australia, in Melbourne, where I live, there's been a lot of protests about this proposed road development, a big tunnel, the East-West Tunnel. It's just basically build more roads because that's a better idea than building more public transport, except it's not. No one sane thinks building more roads alleviates congestion. Every study shows you build more roads, more traffic fills them up. You build more public transport, you can alleviate things. And a bunch of really involved people have been protesting this latest development. And the Murdoch-owned tabloids particularly have been championing, make them pay. Look, it's costing millions, hundreds of millions of dollars to have cops go out and beat these protesters up. So make them pay the cost. Or, alternatively, don't use public resources like the police to protect private companies doing shit, okay? That's what bothers me. It's like, and this has happened with building unions who I don't necessarily fully support, but when they're protesting stuff, enormous amount of public funds are spent on paying cops to kick heads in, and fucking conservative media outlets go, make them pay for that. Or alternatively, don't use public funds to prop up private companies to turn the police force into private bully boys to kick people's fucking heads in. It's like the whole Occupy movement, which I wasn't 100% behind, but when you use an out-of-scale police response against a relatively legitimate protest, that's when you get me on the side of that protest. It's just bullshit. And another weird bit of bullshit, in Texas, judge has approved warrants based on cops saying they can predict future crimes. It's not that you've committed a crime. It's not that they're gathering evidence to convict you for what you've done. They've just gone, I've decided that person might do something in the future. Therefore, let me tap their phones. Let me surveil them. Let me drag them in for questioning. Because they might commit a crime in the future. And when you let the police break every sort of standard of reasonable doubt because of future crime, what you're opening the door there is Minority Report. Yes, if you give the police powers like this, you're getting more Tom Cruise movies.